Hi there, this is James Swanwick, and you're listening to the Alcohol-Free Lifestyle Podcast, where you learn how to take back control over alcohol and live a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. I am James Swanwick, and today we are talking to a lovely couple in the southwest of England, Warren and Catalina. And Warren is a business owner. In fact, he has two businesses in the medical industry and an online training course. And Cati is a carer who works with elderly people. They're based in a place called the Cotswolds near Bath in southwest England. They have two grown-up daughters, one of whom lives with them and the other has her own place. And Warren joined us in our Project 90 program, which helps folks quit alcohol. And he's currently 115 days alcohol-free, and his lovely partner, Catalina, is 330 days alcohol-free, and she was able to do that on her own. So we're going to talk a little bit about their relationship with alcohol and then their relationship to each other and to their children, and the role that alcohol played and the role that removing alcohol played. So Warren and Cati, welcome. So great to have you here.
Thank you, James.
Thank you.
So, Warren, I might just start with you. Just tell us a little bit about, yourself and you and Cati and what you do and your relationship with alcohol, and we'll start there.
Well, I spent most of my career in the medical and pharmaceutical industry. Up until about 2015, I worked for a lot of the multinational companies, and I kind of always had this burning desire to set up a company on my own, which I managed to do in 2015. So I set up a training and consultancy company. And I just basically had enough of the kind of corporate life. And I was on that ladder of going up and, into the kind of national and international jobs, no time at home. So missed the family, etc. But all the way through our journey, if you like, since we were married, Cati's from Spain, so really straight, from the point that we got married, kind of alcohol was around because it's kind of embedded in the culture in Spain. So I was conscious when I went over there, it would be kind of vermouth before the meal, red or white wine during dinner, and maybe then kind of liqueurs with coffee. And it was kind of, we fell into that culture. It's a beautiful culture, but we kind of fell into that when we got married, didn't we really? And we continued that into our life in the UK, if you like. So alcohol was always with us from the beginning, really, from the point that we got together.
Cati, tell me a little bit about the drinking culture from your Spanish background. Did Warren articulate that pretty well? Just tell us a little bit about the
very
drinking culture in Spain.
Yeah. The fact is I grew up with it because mom and dad always had it on the table with water and chiffon. We always had it on the table. And for me, it was something very natural to have. But then as we get older and go out with the friends, always was something natural for me just to ask a glass of wine. And since then, always, anywhere I had to go, I had to just have the wine with me, nothing else. No spirits, no vodkas, no gins, nothing, only wine. And that has been continued since we got together, married, but it was a disaster, basically. I could not drink because I had a major operation as well. I have an aneurysm in my brain. I have blood coming down. And I remember he and my brother taking me into the hospital, and I had to have an operation to block the vein in my head. And they give me the tablets. I'm on medication now. And I could not drink with that at all. But I ignore it and I continue drinking my wine because I want it so badly. But then I had a seizure. I had the first one I can't remember, but they told me not to drink anymore, nothing at all. But I just continued the same. I thought for me it was something normal, and made me feel comfortable with Warren having together a nice evening with another glass of wine. Not another, I was hiding my bottles away so nobody could see what I was doing. And that hurts me because I felt like in the world on my own with wine, and I couldn't understand why. I just did it. And then I had another seizure, and that one I remember very well, about a year ago, now in December. And I felt like I was just going. I saw myself with the legs up in the air, and I thought, that's it, I'm dead. And I saw it, and I remember that one very well. And since that happened, I said, no anymore to any wine or any alcohol whatsoever. I'm going to live without that and start being born again. And that's how I feel now. I feel like I'm coming from another world, surrounded with the people that I love, I care. And that's why I probably am into the care home, because God sent me there. Well, I believe in myself, really. And I love what I'm doing. And I love my family, friends, and everybody. Even meeting you now, I'm made me happy. Yes, it's been a challenge, but a good challenge. Yeah, very good.
Well, I should say, first of all, congratulations on being 330 days alcohol free right now on your own, which is incredible, and long may it continue. And I'm so glad that your health concerns have seemingly reduced since then. I'm so curious, despite having the aneurysms and despite doctors' advice not to drink, you still chose to drink. Why do you think that was?
I just habit, and I thought I could not live without it. But I saw, and it was proven that everything is possible. You can choose how you want to live, with who you want to live, and what kind of life you want to live. I believe it, and it's true. It's true. It's true. It's just an habit. Now we love the soda water to drink in night time with different flavors, and it's just great. Yeah.
And Warren, what was it? Describe the experience for you seeing Cati go through that.
Well, I mean, it was frightening, really. But it was the guidance that we got was quite mixed, from the medical community. Even to the point where they were, well, a glass of wine here and there wouldn't really hurt, and it's obviously a massive no-no, and I think it was just we were in a rut, if you like. We were in that pattern of life that kind of alcohol was on the journey with us, and in other areas of our life and our marriage we're suffering because of that. It was a constant day in, day out thing, and as Cati said, I mean, even after such a massive event like that, and getting the side effects of that, which were epilepsy, we both, because I don't want to put it on Cati, because it was both of us. We both continued with the habit, which was crazy, really, if you think about it. Especially with my background in the medical, I'm originally a clinician, so it's crazy.
Do you think that demonstrates just how, I wouldn't say addictive the substance is, but maybe addictive the habit is, the cultural conditioning that alcohol is just normal, that it's okay, that even despite evidence from doctors and medical advice to the contrary, you were just like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's prevalent everywhere, this is just normal, it's something we can enjoy together. Like, do you think that it was a habitual addiction, or do you think it was a chemical addiction?
For me personally, I think it was a habit, because there were periods where I went like for example, I did a 30-day period where I didn't drink, and then there was, you know, there are sometimes these charity events in the UK where you go for a month. And you donate all the money you collect to maybe a cancer charity or a children's charity. And I've done those events before. So, and without too much difficulty, I think we were just in, exactly as I said, really a rut. And also the pressures, because, you know, things like events like weddings and birthdays and the pressure that you come under during those events. Even if you say, well, look, you know, we've got this medical problem, and some people really still put you under pressure. I found there's a whole load of pressure around those kind of events.
Yeah, Cati, what do you think? Why do you think that you were still drinking despite the medical issues that you were having? Do you think it was a chemical addiction or a habitual cultural addiction that you had?
But from the start, it really from the very beginning was the culture that I thought it was normal to have it on the table. But then it just became really, I felt like I could not live without it. If you call it a proper addiction to it, it is. Yeah. Yes. And after all, what happened after being together, got married 30 years. And I had it more than that, because when I was teenager as well, it's a proper addiction, I would say. You cannot break it. If you got to really set a goal in your mind to stop and take it. See everybody drinking, it's not a problem for me. No, could see it anywhere. Go to supermarkets or people promoting alcohol, but it's not touching my brain at all anymore.
So what type of strain did this put on the relationship with each other in your marriage, and what strain, if any, did it put on your relationship with either of your two daughters?
It put a huge strain on our marriage, because, as you can imagine, you know, if you're drinking and you're also on medication, then, you know, the effects of alcohol without medication on some people are pretty bad. But if you're also on medication, it compounds the issue. So it was like, for me, it was like living with two different people. So the person in the daytime was you know the woman I fell in love with 30 years ago, and you know, we had all the behaviors and the relationship we had you know, when we first got married in the daytime. But then because for us it was always the evening, it wasn't any daytime, but then in the evening it was like living with a different person, really. So very strange, and obviously the same for my daughters, really, you know. And sometimes if I was traveling with work or something, or I was away on a conference or something, you know, I would get a kind of a phone call that would say, "Oh, Mom's being weird again." So it was basically the alcohol and drugs kicking in, making you becoming, you know, a different, if you like, your personality was slightly different.
How was her personality slightly different?
What would you say?
Yes, yeah, it just changed. I just, honestly, I could say it changed because I could feel it changing myself. I just was surrounded. I don't know how to explain it. It's so kind of a powerful, that I thought it was so important for my body to have it that I could not live without it.
It was odd behaviours, James. Yeah. Really, it was just odd behaviours would kick in, even to the fact of you know, even down to food. You know, the types of food. Cati's always had a very healthy diet and always been very health conscious. But if she'd been maybe having an extra glass of wine too many, she would go and eat a pizza. It was odd. You know, it's really odd. Yeah. But if you chatted to her the next morning about it and you said, "Oh, you know, you were a bit odd, and you know, you went and ate a pizza," she was horrified. So there was obviously some memory loss because of that. So it affected all of our life, really, all of the whole of our married life, really.
And how did your daughters say that it affected their relationship with both of you?
Well, both of them had anxiety problems, to the extent that my older daughter was kind of had treatment for it, and I maybe wasn't all of the cause of that, but it was one of the contributing factors to having anxiety. My younger daughter was kind of more withdrawn than my older daughter. She was, she would be quite tearful and get upset, whereas my younger daughter would go into a shell if when these occasions happened. So it's two completely different reactions, but both were affected by it.
And so Cati then finally, it sounds like in December 2019, after her latest health scare, made a decision to go alcohol-free. And to this day, she remains alcohol-free. Two questions. Cati, what was the experience like for you finally choosing to be alcohol-free? What were those first few months like when you were not drinking? And then secondly, as I understand it, Warren, despite Cati deciding to quit alcohol, you decided to continue drinking. So I'm just curious as to how that played out. So let me just address the first question to Cati. What were those first few months alcohol-free like for you?
Well, I felt really, really good. I thought it would feel different and strange and would miss it. But the decision that I took is just the power that what I saw happening in that day when I fell down the stairs and I saw myself dying, going somewhere else, and leaving everything behind me. It stopped me from touching it, but I'm not scared of it all. Oh. And I've been living all this month, like you say, after stopping, very, very happy, not driving, just walking and taking the dog out and focus on the house. And it's just kind of, I would say, being kind of a born again. And because I quite used to lose the memory. Now where I work now in the home, I had to take a notepad and write down every single day what I was doing, where I was going, and who I was going to visit. And now it's just automatically it's in my head. It's like learning again how to live your life. But it's not touching me anymore. Since the beginning, when I say no more, it's just for me just natural. I didn't look back 2 seconds to have a glass of wine or nothing at all. It seems like weird and, saying it should be something else, but it's not. It's just as simple as that. Have a glass of water instead of having a glass of wine. It's just unbelievable, but I just feel it's just so normal. And I feel normal again, thank God. Yeah.
And Warren, despite Cati feeling normal again and feeling reborn, you still chose to drink alcohol. So tell me a little bit about why you chose to do that and what impact that had.
Yeah, I think for me, I was very impressed with Cati, what she'd done, but I was still in that rut, and I continued to be in that rut for 6 months whilst Cati was alcohol free. I think some of that was probably to do with stresses of managing and setting up businesses, etc. And I know it was my release from it. But I was in a pattern, so I would more or less buy the alcohol at the same time every day, early evening, I would come home, and whereas in the past we maybe would have shared a bottle of wine, I was working my way through that bottle of wine on my own, and it got me to the point, and it was during lockdown really, that it compounded. Really, it got worse during lockdown because obviously, you know, the pattern of life changed. The only thing you were really allowed to do here was to go to the store. So it was very easy for me to go to the store at the end of the working day and grab a bottle. It was usually a bottle of wine or maybe, you know, 4 beers or whatever. But I felt it was disrespectful as well to Cati. Do you know what I mean? Because she'd gone through all this huge battle with her health and illness, and then the struggle with the habit of drinking. And I was continuing. So obviously it didn't have a great effect on our marriage for 6 months. We were almost living separate lives.
So even though you felt like it was disrespectful to Cati, you still continued to drink.
Yeah, I think I was just in a pattern. It was a pattern of behaviour, definitely a pattern of behaviour that I was in. And if you stop me, I think I said this to Kevin on one of the calls. If you stop me on the way to the store and asked me why I was doing that, I probably couldn't give you an answer. It was because I'd always done it for the last 10, 20 years, and I was just in that pattern of behaviour, and that was one of the first things I saw Cati change. Was she changed her pattern? So instead of opening a bottle of wine, she would open soda water or a Perrier water so when I started with Project 90 and you started talking about that, for me it was fairly easy to change that behavior because I just got into a different pattern and I followed the pattern of life that Cati had for the last 6 months. And I think I said on some of the calls that for me, because my partner was alcohol free, it was a massive advantage for me, and it made those early weeks where where the change in behaviour you're struggling with, it made it easier for me.
Cati, how did you feel about Warren continuing to drink after you had made the choice not to?
But to say the truth is I wouldn't mind. I didn't mind at all because I recognized that was my problem because I could not drink it. I could not touch it because, and with the tablets, I could not do it anymore. And I didn't mind at all if you wanted to have a glass or I thought a bottle would be too much, but I didn't mind. I knew that if I continued drinking, would stop our marriage, our life together, even separation. I will have to go back to where I come from, that I love it. But I was told my life is with him and my daughters. So I really, really had to touch that wine, stop it, no more drinking because it doesn't help. There's no help.
Just a quick message from our show sponsor, Project 90, the program that helps you enjoy life more by getting ultimate power over alcohol. Project 90 helps high achievers regain their confidence, be more present with friends and family, get clear, reduce stress and anxiety, sleep better, increase focus and productivity, and feel a whole lot better. Project 90 does this by helping members quit alcohol for at least 90 days whilst providing 6 months of accountability and support. The program has an 87% success rate of members reaching at least 90 consecutive days alcohol-free on their first attempt. Members get a one-on-one accountability coach, a community of like-minded people to interact with, 100% confidentiality, and what's more, members tell us it's fun. Project 90 members are mostly over the age of 35, entrepreneurs, executives, top professionals, or retirees. If you're in your late 30s or 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, or older, and you consider yourself a high achiever, and you're ready to upgrade your life by quitting alcohol for at least 90 days and maybe more, then you can have a free 20-minute exploratory call with one of Project 90's former clients, now coaches. If you'd like to book that call, you can go to jamesswanwick.com/schedule. That's jamesswanwick.com/schedule. Or if you're on your phone in the US right now, you can text the word Project 90 to the number 44222, and we'll email you the schedule link. That's texting the word Project 90 to the number 44222. Okay, let's get back to the show. So Warren, just describe for me the moment where you maybe first became aware of my organization, the Alcohol-Free Lifestyle and Project 90, and then, how long it was before you decided to take action. Was there a catalyst moment, or was it the accumulation of 6 months of thinking about it before you finally enrolled and did something about it? Just talk us through a little bit about that leading up to the moment where you finally said, okay, I'm going to get this under control.
I think, from remembering back, I think it was around about August, September 2019. I'd seen some of your the information for maybe the 30-day program, first of all, and then Project 90 on Facebook. And I knew in my own mind, because I work in the health field, I knew that I was probably doing myself some damage with the level of alcohol that I was drinking. So it was probably, we were both drinking when I first saw some information on your programs. But I already knew deep inside me that I had to do something at that point. So I think we had some email exchanges, but it wasn't quite the right time for me. And I think what it took Cati to step forward and make that, and that made me feel even worse, if you like, because I already in my mind had, like, this is kind of a road to nowhere. But when she stepped out, and obviously, I kind of thought, wow, I never thought that she would do that, and she did it almost overnight. Over a few weeks, she just completely withdrew alcohol, and I found myself feeling kind of really bad about continuing, and I knew, and I think that's when I got to the point, maybe May of this year, during that lockdown where it was the pattern was even worse. I then got back in contact with you. And then I had a call with Roseanne. But even at that point, I was on the fence. Roseanne actually spoke to Cati during that first call. And I think that really helped me.
Just to give context, sorry to interrupt, just to give context, Roseanne is one of our former clients, now enrollers. And Roseanne speaks with folks who are considering enrolling with us in our Project 90 program. Just wanted to give that context. Continue, Warren.
Yeah. So, and I was really on the fence, and I could have gone one way or the other. But Roseanne spoke with so much conviction about her journey and how she felt, and I wanted to be where she was, during the call, and how she'd explained to me. And I think she reminded me on a call recently that she said to me, well, how do you feel, about alcohol? And I said, look, I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it was the alcohol that was causing that. It was affecting my business. Cati saw it really day to day. I wasn't myself. I was anxious, if I had to do sales calls or I had a Zoom meeting with a client, I wasn't really myself. I was anxious. My planning of that event was quite poor. And that's what we've seen. There's some of the differences we've seen is that we've both got clarity in our lives, and we can plan properly and prioritize.
What did you think, Cati, when Warren came to you and said, look, I'm entertaining the idea of joining this program to help me to get power over alcohol? Were you skeptical? Were you encouraged, I should say? Were you, how did you feel about that when Warren came to you with that?
No, very encouraging. I'm really, really happy to hear, that I was in contact, with the whole lot, really. Even, promoting like the books, some of the books that got in the hands now that I can't put it away. One of is the Journey of Souls book that I'm reading now through what is Warren.
So we've shared, some of the books that have been recommended. We've kind of shared the books. So kind of Cati's been on the P90 journey with me, really, in the background.
Yeah.
So I've passed some of the books over to her, etc. So it was good that that we did this together, really, today, because she's been there constantly supporting me.
Yeah.
So Cati supported. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's very, very good. Because and I see you sometimes as well traveling, showing pictures with the telephone, and
Me?
what else? Yeah, it was you. Yes, it was you.
I think on Facebook you may be seeing some of your some of your short videos, James.
Oh, I see. Yeah, some of my marketing videos, maybe.
Yeah, but it's good. It's everything that you do all together is great, helping lots of people.
Thank you, Cati. I appreciate that. So Cati she was very supportive of you enrolling with us in Project 90. But as I understand it, Warren, your accountant was someone that you still needed to go and get the permission of before you enrolled in this program. So it's like some people are like, well, I better just check with my wife, or I better check with my husband. But for you, it was, no, I better just check with my accountant.
Yeah. No, Cati was on board, but my accountant wasn't. But yeah, so he was, I think he thought I'd kind of lost the plot. And the next call, obviously the next call I had with Roseanne, I'd already decided. The accountant, he was trying to be an accountant and do all the numbers, etc., and get them all to stack up. But in the end, I had to do it, not just for me, for us. So I just jumped in and went for it 150%. I plugged into all the system. So for the whole 90 days, I actually attended 2 calls a week and did the one-to-one with Kevin. So I didn't fail to get on any of those. I also used Marco Polo and learned from the people that were posting on there. So the system got me through it. But as I say, I felt fortunate that our situation at home, it was fairly easy to be alcohol free. But we still had alcohol around. My daughters still, drink. They don't drink heavily, but there's alcohol in the house, so it's not as if we've banished it. And it doesn't worry us that there's alcohol in the house, or you go to the store. We've got a power over it, as you said earlier.
Cati, what changes did you see in Warren after he had gone alcohol-free consistently?
Well, the change is one of the major ones is more focus on what he's doing every day. And is not kind of like buzzing around in the office searching for things that he knew that he left somewhere on the table and he couldn't find it, but it was there. It's just he knows what he's doing, and that's great to see it. And he's got a great mind on his shoulders, and I'm very proud of him and everything he does. And I'm glad I got married to him.
I paid her for that, James. That cost me a lot, really.
No, it's good. I've been through kind of a journey that I believe when people say I could write a book about my life. Because it's true, everybody's got their own book, their own life to write down. It's true.
And Cati, besides seeing the benefits for Warren and his life from being alcohol-free, how has Warren being alcohol-free benefited you and your life? How have you gained from Warren's new way of being?
Lots of soda bottle
Lots of soda water bottles
in the fridge. And it just, I can see him, it's just clear. And one thing he used to do, and he maybe can't remember, but he used to tell me things sometimes. He was annoying to me, saying, "Oh, why you do this and why you do that," and just
I was irritable.
Me, like irritable.
Yeah.
And his irritation, it was on me all the time, but in telling me why I was doing things. And now he doesn't do it anymore. It's just something that he just focuses on what he's got to do, and is happy the rest of the time and is himself. So I found this very positive.
I think I was irritable, James, with myself, because I knew, especially in that 6-month period where Cati was alcohol free and I wasn't, I knew that what I needed to do. And I think I was irritable with myself, and then I took it out maybe on Cati and maybe the girls and people around me, because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin with the behaviors that I had, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It sounds like you were no longer irritable, which meant that Cati no longer had to be irritated with you being irritable.
Yes. Spot on, I would say.
Even Lucy said to me, "Mom, is that all right?"
I was being nice for a change.
Cati, we have a number of folks who are considering joining us in our Project 90 program, which helps folks rewire their brain, and as Warren was saying there, change the pattern of behavior around alcohol. And a lot of folks have their husband or their wife talk them out of doing it. So this is an opportunity, I guess, for you to maybe speak to a husband or a wife or a spouse or an accountant, if it's Warren's case, to maybe just maybe say to them what you think they should do, or maybe you talk to the husband or the wife or the spouse. What message would you have for the partner of someone who is considering going through this process?
What would I say to a partner?
Yeah, what would you say to the husband or the wife or the partner of someone who wants to quit alcohol, wants to come through the Project 90 process, but the partner is like, "Oh, I don't know about this. Don't worry, I'll just hold you accountable. You'll be fine. You can do this on your own. You don't need to do that." What might you say to those folks?
Well, if they believe they can do it on their own, it's just not an harm to try it, because everything, like I said, is possible. You believe in yourself, and why the things that haven't been going wrong, why not to try to put them into a perspective and deeply try if you can do it. And if you think you're going to fail, if you say, "Okay, I'll have a go and talk to these people, and I'll be in contact, and I'll try my best." I think
I needed a system, whereas Cati, probably because of the scare with her health, that probably was her system. Do you know what I mean? It was she had to do it. Whereas with me, I had a choice, and I think without the people around me in the group, it would have been way tougher. I'm sure I could have done it, like Cati said. I think people do it, but I think you're stacking the odds in your favour by having P90. You have that system as long as you use it. I mean, I'm sure there's people come in and don't use it. You've got to use that system. So that's what I did, and I think I don't think I could have done it without a system.
Without wanting to, sing the praises of the program too much, obviously it's been effective for you, which is fantastic. But what did you find really challenging about the program? What did you struggle with at times? Because it's not always sunshine and rainbows. I say to folks who are considering joining us, sometimes folks feel like they're running through rose bushes and they're getting cut up, and it's like it hurts and it's prickly, but then they come out the other side and it's beautiful. But what was your kind of rose bush experience?
Obviously, things like the time zone is a challenge for anyone in Europe, because obviously you know the majority of the calls can be a little bit later so you need to motivate yourself and be bothered to get on them. So that's one challenge I found. Sometimes with Marco Polo, although I'm involved in online courses, I was really apprehensive about my first post on there, to the point where we had a discussion. Kevin and I had a discussion, and he said, "Look, you just got to go one take." He called me one take Warren. So basically, he said, "You just got to go 1, 2, 3, switch it on, and record." So that's what I did. I just followed him.
And just for context, for those who might be wondering what the heck we're talking about here when we say Marco Polo is a little video messaging group that we have where members can communicate with each other via a video selfie. So think of it as a Facebook group, except that rather than communicating with other members via the typed word, you're communicating via little video messages. Many members express a lot of resistance to recording themselves initially, right in the beginning, which is fair enough. It involves technology, and a lot of people also want to feel like they're being private and confidential, and they don't want their face or image or story to get out. However, what we found is that, well, first of all, it is private and confidential amongst the group, so it never gets out into the public. It's only the only people who see those video selfies are those who are members. And secondly, we found, in fact, neuroscience studies have shown that community and being and feeling connected to a community of like-minded people has a dramatic impact on someone's ability to have success. If you are trying to be a lone ranger, so to speak, or a lone wolf and do it on your own, it will often or mostly feel challenging. However, when you can see, really get to know other people, connect with other people, and do that via little video selfies or being on a group call, then change not just becomes possible, it actually becomes probable. So please continue, Warren. I just wanted to create that context because I know we'd mentioned Marco Polo a few times, and I suspect some folks that didn't know what we were referring to, but continue.
Yeah, that was really helpful. And that community, keeps you on track if you use it, because you don't want to step out of that community, or you don't want to let down that community. That's the way you feel. You're letting down yourself, but you've also got accountability to the community, because you start to build up a friendship group in there, and you talk to people on the calls. So for me the process of everything really helped me. The early weeks, you've obviously get kind of fatigue a little bit in the first couple of weeks, so that's a little bit unusual. But once you're through that, as long as you stay in contact with the people you need to be in contact with, I found it relatively straightforward, and it definitely changed the way I was thinking, and the clarity, and the way I run my life, if you like.
Yeah, wonderful. During the process, you wrote a letter to alcohol. Now, the contents of that we don't want to share here, obviously word for word, but maybe you might just explain a little bit about why you did that. You actually wrote a letter to alcohol, and without reading it out, obviously, what was the point of that? What was the benefit that you got from that? What
if you like, encouraged me to do it was I saw one of the other members post a similar sort of letter, and it seemed to be kind of therapeutic, and it was very strong. It was very moving when I listened to it. It was via the app, via the Marco Polo app, and it was a video selfie. And that made me think, but I wasn't quite ready for it when I saw that from the other member. But it felt like we had kind of someone in our marriage with us, and it was the alcohol. So I decided to write to alcohol as if it was someone who lived with us, and it really helped me personally to lift the burden off my shoulders. So I basically told alcohol what I thought of what it had, the impact it had on our life and our marriage. And at the end of it, it felt like I'd lifted a weight, and I needed to send it to someone. So I sent it over to Kevin and Roseanne, because I felt the final part of it was to share it with someone. So that's what I did. I wrote that one Sunday evening during the P90. I sat down and wrote it and sent it.
Did you share it with Catalina, or did you keep it to yourself?
Yeah, we shared it, didn't we? And
what was your reaction, Cati?
Oh yes. It just you stay in the truth, basically being yourself. And it was part of the marriage. It just, thank God, is divorced now. It's gone.
We divorce the alcohol. I like it.
But it is something good, isn't it? That guy writing to, it was like a chair, isn't it? He was talking to the chair, and it was the alcohol. So it's coming from deeply from the inside, what you saying, what you writing. And it set your mind free. You have put yourself then. Why not to be the person you are born to be? It's true. If everybody can help each other, man, these talkings is really, really positive for the whole world. Yes, and I wouldn't mind to share anything that happened in our lives with other people if it helps somebody else.
Yeah. Just a couple further questions. Warren, what's happened in your business life or your professional life since you've been enjoying the clarity and the focus and the energy and the strategy from being alcohol-free?
Both businesses that I'm involved in are just so busy. I'll tell you how I felt. I felt like before I still had a business that was running, or two, I was involved in two businesses, but it was almost like a radio station. If you have the old-fashioned radio stations that you had and you had to tune them in, it was as if I was running a business with the channel slightly mistuned. So the signal that I was sending out, or the signal that was coming back from my clients, was distorted. And as soon as I got the clarity of alcohol out of my system, I just tuned the station in. So now, communication-wise, whether it's on the telephone, face-to-face, or over Zoom, is much clearer. And what I'm finding is, I'm sitting down this evening, and people enroll on our courses, and I've just got delegates enrolling, over the weekend, overnight, and it's as if I've tuned in to a different level, like a wavelength.
Sounds wonderful.
The only way I can describe it is that I wasn't quite on it before.
Yeah, fantastic. And Cati, how do you feel now that Warren's been consistently alcohol-free?
Yes, very, very good. Very, very good. Because, like I say, I can see him like he is himself, and he's great. He's really, really good. I don't think there's much words to say. Just seeing like he gets up in the morning and like a cell full of beans, and he's just ready to go and being happy and working. And I know sometimes he's got to stay away. Like he's been away a couple of nights now. But the business with his mate, Ted, it's just growing. and he's happy because he's enjoying what he's doing. What else do you want in life? He's good, very good, very happy.
Definitely. We get excited about which flavour of water we're buying this evening.
And ice creams. I love ice creams.
We're going to have to do a Project 90 no ice cream program soon. Well, Warren and Cati, thank you so much for opening up and allowing us into your lives for a few minutes here. I so appreciate you being vulnerable enough to share your story in the hope that it will inspire others. And I want to just acknowledge both of you as well. Cati, congratulations on almost a year alcohol-free so far. And Warren, congratulations on 115 days alcohol-free as we're recording this, but I'm sure it will be considerably longer, as we catch up as we go along. Is that the plan now, Cati and Warren, in terms of your relationship with alcohol?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. No, there's no sign of us, wanting to go back down that kind of dark road, we were going down. But we're on track, and I reset for another 90 days. So I kind of, because I'd already done it once, I thought, well, it makes sense to go another 90 days and obviously head towards a year, like Cati.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, Warren and Cati, and thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it.
No problem, James.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Alcohol Free Lifestyle podcast. I want to load you up with some free stuff right now. So if you want to go to jamesswanwick.com/guide, I will send you my Quit Alcohol Guide, which has helped six-figure entrepreneurs and top professionals reduce or quit drinking. You can also text the word QUIT GUIDE to the number 44222 if you're in the US, of course. It doesn't really work anywhere outside of the US. But if you're in the US on your mobile phone and you'd like that guide, text the word QUIT GUIDE to the number 44222, or you can go to jamesswanwick.com/guide. If you'd like to schedule a free 15-minute call with one of my top coaches, just an exploratory call to see if or how we can help you, then you can go to jamesswanwick.com/schedule, or you can text the word Project 90 to the number 44222 if you're listening in the US on a mobile phone. That's jamesswanwick.com/schedule, or you can text the word Project 90, that's one word, Project 90, to the number 44222. Feel free to send me a direct message over on my Instagram account, which is @JamesSwanwick. You can also watch video episodes of this podcast and a series of other educational videos on my YouTube channel, which is James Swanwick 1, or you can direct message me on Facebook @JamesSwanwickOfficial. And finally, a request. Would you please now write a short review of the podcast inside of the Apple Podcast app on your phone or on iTunes on your desktop computer? Would you please give the show 5 stars and write a quick 1 or 2 sentence review? This will help the show get in front of even more listeners, potentially transforming someone's life. You can rate and review the show inside of your Apple Podcast app on your phone or over on iTunes on your desktop. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time.